In this video, I'm going to show you how to add subheadings and also explain a little bit of the reason why you might want to have subheadings. So adding a subheading is really simple. In the visual editor, you can hit enter, make a new paragraph, type in the subheading, subhead 1, and this subheading would describe either this paragraph or the section that follows it. You highlight that text and then you choose, I would recommend choosing heading 2, but you can talk to your web developer and see what works within your design. The reason you choose a heading instead of just like in Word, depending on if you're a power user or not, then you probably would just change the color and change the size and all that. But by doing the heading, you can make all the headings look the same. So through the style sheet, your web developer can make all of your heading 2s look the same. So if you want to change the way that looks, instead of having to do that one by one, you just do it for the whole document all at once. So we choose heading 2. The reasoning between heading 2 versus heading 1 is that this title up here is going to be an H1 tag. It's going to be a heading 1 tag, and so you want to use that for your heading 1, and then you'd have heading 2. Now, quick note, this is a new paragraph. Now, there's something that people run into that's important to note, and that's if I'm going over to the text version. So if you pasted this in from Word, this might show up like this, subheading, and so there's only one line. All right, if I go back here, it's only one line. So if I was to change this to an H1, it creates or an H2, a heading 2, then it would create all kinds of problems. It needs to be a new paragraph. And another thing to note, so in the text field, you can do that just by hitting enter, right? And that's a new paragraph. But in the visual, then when you hit enter, it creates a new paragraph, which means we actually have 3 lines. So I have to delete 1. Now if I go back, see, it goes to the nearest paragraph, hit enter, and it's a new paragraph. So it's just a little peculiarity about how the headings and how the paragraphs work. But it's important to understand that in the text mode, each enter just goes down 1 space. It's a new line, whereas in the visual editor, it's a new paragraph. And that makes a difference as far as how things get edited, and usually there's a space for the paragraph. And so each new paragraph would be a new paragraph. Now, from a logical progression standpoint, a reason why you would use subheadings is because it allows the person reading your content 2 different ways of taking in your content. If you have nice subheadings, then the person can skim over the document and get the gist of what you're going to talk about in the document and then decide what to read. And that's a very positive thing for the end user. The other thing is, especially the end user who skims a lot, they won't grasp much of what you're saying if you don't have subheadings. And then also bolding words also does that same thing. Italicizing words gives people an idea of the words that are, or the phrases that are, you're trying to emphasize, and allows people to skim the document and understand the gist of it. The other thing that the subheadings do is indicate important points to Google, to search engines in general. And so the subheadings are a good tool both from the search engine standpoint and the end user standpoint, and especially Google. And those 2 things usually do go side by side. If you make a better end user experience, that's also going to give you a boost in the search engines, because Google's main goal is to provide a good search engine experience, a good end user experience. And the same with the bold and italicizing things. If you bold and italicize important words and phrases, you don't want to overdo it, but Google will see that these are the important concepts for your page. So that's a little more about subheadings. I'm not going to add them to this document because it's something the writer needs to do when you're creating the content. You need to look at it and go, okay, what's this section about? What's that section about? And put in subheadings. But it's a great way to get a little more juice out of your content. It makes your content look more appealing, less like a big block of text. So it helps break up your content. That's how images do that as well, help you break up your content. I'll cover a few more things in the next video related to search engine optimization, and we'll talk a little more about the components of a good, well-optimized blog post. Thanks.